Here in Germany, Russia's war on Ukraine and its economic fallout is likely to stay top of the political agenda in 2023. Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government has already pushed through relief packages to help offset rising energy prices for Germans. It's feared the economic pinch could undermine public support for the government's Ukraine policies. Here's DW's chief political correspondent Nina Haase with more.
When spring 23 comes, the first big question will be, did the German government do enough to get Germans through this winter okay, as Chancellor Scholz promised? People do consume more gas and electricity when it's cold, after all. Will consumers and companies have been able to cope with the high energy prices and with inflation? And what about energy security? German Chancellor Olaf Scholz will spend much of his second year in office trying to replace Russian energy sources, just like he did in his first year following Russia's large-scale invasion of Ukraine. But will that come at the detriment of the country's climate goals? Which brings me to the second big challenge of 2023. Olaf Scholz needs to keep Germans convinced that solidarity with Ukraine has to continue for as long as it takes.
Financial aid, humanitarian aid and weapons. We'll continue this support for as long as it is needed.
For as long as Russia doesn't withdraw its troops, that is. A December poll showed not even 1 in 3 East Germans say Germany should show solidarity with Ukraine, even if that comes with negative consequences like high energy prices. In West Germany, the number was slightly higher, but still not the majority of people. And while we're on that topic, Olaf Scholz needs to convince international partners that Germany is reliable and can be trusted when it comes to support of Ukraine. And that includes modernizing the German army, which is a huge challenge after years of neglect. And Olaf Scholz needs to keep the country united. A foiled coup attempt in December reminded everyone how real the threat from right-wing extremism is in Germany.
The most important consequence is that everyone knows that we have a state that can defend itself. We are a democracy that can defend itself, which can thwart such violations of law, such planning with its security authorities, and can defend itself with full force.
Then, of course, there are the big international challenges. What is Russia going to do next? And Olaf Scholz says he wants to put a big focus on the countries of the global south, which are becoming increasingly not just trade, but also strategic partners for Germany. That means he'll be doing a lot of flying to have FaceTime with leaders in countries like Brazil and India. We'll find out more details once the new national security strategy has been spelt out, and that will happen early on in the year. And that is supposed to be followed by Germany's new China strategy. Now, some are already ringing the alarm bells because of Germany's high dependency on China. Germany is an export-oriented country. Roughly 1 million jobs depend on trade with China here. So what if tensions rise between China and some of its neighbors? Well, that would be pure speculation, and let's face it, the German government looks busy enough as it is.
So, given that Ukraine will continue to be one of the German government's greatest challenges this year, I'm very pleased to welcome Alexander Müller, the defence spokesman for the business-friendly FDP group in the German parliament. The FDP is one of the coalition partners in the current German government. Thanks so much for being with us, Mr. Müller. Some military experts say that Ukraine can win the war in 2023, but only if the West helps the country with modern battle tanks. Is Germany prepared to do that?
Germany is prepared. We have delivered a lot of weaponry to Ukraine. We are number 3 in the world in the volume of delivering weapons. We are struggling currently within the coalition. You know about that, about heavy weaponry like main battle tanks. We are still discussing this, but this is something aside. I think I can really say we have delivered a lot.
So what would you say about the recent polls suggesting fewer people in Germany support weapons deliveries to Ukraine? Do you see a shift in the feeling amongst the German population?
No, from the people I know and I speak with, I see no reduction in support for Ukraine. Everybody knows how important it is to support Ukraine. There's something about our international law. Russia may not have any advantage of attacking a peaceful neighbor country, and this is a sign that must come from our support of Ukraine.
So you feel that even with the rising energy bills, the fact that Germans' lives are changing as a result of the war, you still feel that this support will stay steadfast?
Our lives are changing constantly, and even if we would now reduce sanctions for Russia, the prices for energy would not go down. So in any way, we have to support Ukraine and we have to hold on to the sanctions to Russia.
Can we talk briefly about the German army itself, which was mentioned in the report we just saw? It's struggled with hardware problems of its own. Just last month, all of its high-tech Puma tanks broke down during an exercise. That's just one example of the challenges that it's facing. How can the Bundeswehr, the German army, be modernised and be modernised quickly?
Yes, the biggest problem in the Bundeswehr is we have to improve procurement. Our procurement in Bundeswehr is too slow, too bureaucratic, and we already did last year some things. We had a new law, the Bundeswehrbeschleunigungsbeschaffungsgesetz, a long word. This is just version 1.0. We have to improve procurement even better. We have to become faster, and that is the main problem in our Bundeswehr, even to enhance availability of our weaponry.
So you feel like that it's clear what has to happen. Do you think this will happen?
Of course, we are working on that. The Ministry of Defense is working on that, and we will make even more laws to reduce bureaucracy, to make it easier to procure, to reduce the layers and the levels in procurement. We have to be much faster, and we are working on that.
OK, Mr. Müller, I do just want to ask you, Germany's Defence Minister, Christine Lambrecht, she's in charge of modernising the army. Just yesterday, she was facing calls for a resignation after a New Year's message that many saw as ill-judged and inappropriate. Is she the right person to lead the German army into the future, in your opinion?
We shouldn't judge her from social media videos that she, in her personal account, that she offers in her personal account. You know, our economical minister spends 400,000 euros just for a photographer to put him in the right light. If we look at our ministers in such a way that we judge them from their social media accounts, everybody will have a high, many people to help them, and that costs a lot of money. I think it is unfair.
OK, we'll have to leave it there, but thanks so much for your time. Yeah. Alexander Müller, defence spokesman for the FDP group in the German Parliament.